Good morning, everyone. Indeed, it's my pleasant talk to talk about pediatric nutrition and food insecurities, understanding the impact, challenges, and solutions. I thank the organizers for this opportunity. Pediatric nutrition is essential for healthy growth, cognitive development, and long-term health. Food insecurity threatens child's access to adequate nutrition, and this presentation explores how nutrition and food insecurity intersect in children's lives. What is pediatric nutrition? It refers to the dietary need of infants, children, and adolescents. We know children require carbohydrates 50 to 55%, fat 30%, and protein 15 to 20%. Protein is for growth, and carbohydrates and fat for calories, and iron for brain development, calcium and vitamin D for bone health, omega-3 fats for brain function, and healthy habits formed in childhood influence lifelong health of the child. So what is food insecurity? It's limited or uncertain access to enough food for an active, healthy life. There are different levels: low food insecurity and very low food insecurity. Low food insecurity, which can be due to poor quality or variety of issues, like now more of processed foods available for children and fast foods being available on the streets, even for children. Every street has a lot of fast foods, and the children who go to school, they just use them, and which can be detrimental to their health, and also the food additives that are added in the food items, even in the juice packets and various other items. So very low food insecurity is mainly because of disrupted eating patterns, and suppose it affects 1 in 6 children in US, which can vary by every region. So impact of food insecurity on children, it can affect physically, causing stunted physical growth, weakening of immune system, and already we know their immune system is sort of growing, and therefore they are so susceptible for all sorts of infection, and this insecurities can worsen or weaken the immune system. Cognitive effects, it can delay the developmental process, and also the academic performance can become very poor. Behavioral effects also, it has definitely, they can develop anxieties and depression. We are living in a complex scenario where all with a lot of pressures, and especially children facing a lot of challenges due to the growth and development process, and this insecurity will definitely pose a lot of anxiety and depression in children, and also attention to problems and irritability can happen. So nutritional deficiencies in at-risk children, common deficiencies are anemia, particularly children in the menarche stage, where from say 10 to 18 years of age, already they use so much of blood through menstrual process, and lack of iron intake can cause them to develop severe anemia, which can cause fatigability. Vitamin D deficiencies, bone weakness can happen because seldom they are in the sunlight. Most of the time they are in the classroom, and exposure to sunlight, particularly from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. does not happen. And if the food do not have enough amount of calcium, it can cause severe bone weakness. And zinc is responsible for immunity, and if zinc deficiencies happen, it's a microelement, but still if it's going to be deficient, it can cause severe immune dysfunctions. And reliance on calorie dense but nutrition poor foods, processed foods, sugary, fatty foods can pose a lot of threat to the children. And so role of schools and programs, school meal programs are available, like National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program. Actually in Tamil Nadu, we do have the midday meal program, which covers almost 1/3 of the total requirement of the child. And now we also have the new breakfast scheme introduced, and so it is available. And also in the state, we do have cheap governmental hotels available where they can go for a very minimal amount, they can get good. So supplemental programs like Women, Infants, Children program, and supplemental nutrition assessment programs, and community effects, food banks and backpack programs are available in other countries and in India as well. So strategies to improve pediatric nutrition: policy advocacy, expanding access to federal nutrition programs in other countries, and increasing funding for school meals. And in India, particularly in our state, we do have this funding for school meals, and that motivates many children to come to school, but particularly in government schools. which provides both the local and the English medium for their instructions. And education teaching family about affordable nutrition. Not necessarily they have to be middle income or upper income group, even the lower income group, if they seek for cheaply available foods but quite nutritious, like can I say ragi, jaggery, which is high in calcium, iron, and jaggery, which is high in calcium, and different kinds of cereals which are available. They can have a kitchen garden and they can grow their own vegetables, their own fruits. All these are much possible. So talking about cheap nutrients, particularly country like India where many may not be able to afford for high costly items, so they can go for pulses can be good. So, and also encouraging breastfeeding and early nutrition. Breastfeeding mandatory for 6 months, and weaning food should be started at least by 6 months of age. So talking about baby-friendly policies and baby-friendly attitude where mothers should breastfeed their children at least for 6 months, and they can continue on even for 1 year or 2 years, that doesn't matter, but weanings should have started by 6 months of age. Healthcare integration, pediatrician screening for food insecurity, and nutritional counseling as part of care, particularly school health programs and pediatric nurses. We must go to schools in our place. We do visit schools and we have school health programs. So checking their height and weight and calculating their BMI, and if they're undernourished, even overnourished children for that matter, we refer them here and we make sure they are rehabilitated nutritionally and they are well taken care. And that's why even a recent study done on the obesity, the overweight was 8.2% and obesity was 1.6%, which in comparison to many other metropolitan cities like Mumbai and Delhi, where it is 22-30%, is quite very low in value. So a lot of nutritional programs are happening through the healthcare systems. Long-term solutions, reducing the child poverty, particularly encouraging them to study well so that they can get jobs and they can be self-sufficient. And poverty is one concern where every underdeveloped and developing country should pose more attention to these concerns. And supporting the parental employment. If parents are not working, then naturally the children will suffer due to poverty, and therefore encouraging the parents to also get educated or at least get employed in. There are various modes of other income means, so they can have smaller shops or various methods of income generation is there. So they should be helped, even keeping a sewing machine and becoming a tailor. Some sort of vocational development program should happen so that the parents can earn and they can feed the children enough. Improving access to healthy foods in all communities and address accessibility is our other concern, and also teaching this in the community, inviting the community leaders and talking about the food insecurities and how healthy foods can be available for children, cheap nutrients, economic, but they are very good in nutrients. So therefore, all those should be targeted, not only the parents, the teachers, the admin, the stakeholders, and also the community leaders should be involved in this program. Besides that, other problems like racism, housing, healthcare access, all those also, because with poor housing, they can develop infections and that can cause a lot of nutritional problems. And because we know infection and nutrition are interlinked, and therefore proper housing, all those are also should be focused upon. And long-term solutions, reducing child poverty, supporting parental environment, and also their employment is very, very important. So what can we do? Supporting local food drives and pantries, advocating for children's nutrition policies, volunteering with school or community programs, and educating others on the importance of early nutrition. So, encouraging kitchen garden by the children and also by the parents, and talking about importance of balanced diet, healthy diet. They may be cheaply available, but they must be healthy, and also land can be allotted for organic foods. Now, a lot of additives, a lot of fertilizers are added on the food, the plants, and various other means. And so that should also be avoided. So education on the dangers of adding additives, dangers of all this processed food also should be brought into light so that everybody will become aware. Not only the parents, the entire community becomes aware of the dangers of food insecurities in our community. So child global malnutrition, there are studies that stunting, wasting, and overweight remain off track in many regions. The WHO, UNICEF, and World Bank joint malnutrition estimates provide country-by-country trends and show only slow declines in stunting since 2012 and stubbornly high wasting in South Asia. Another study where NFHS five between 2019 and 21 under 5 stunting seems to be 35.5%, wasting 19.3%, underweight 32.1%, and anemia 67%, especially in children from 6 to 59 months of age. Compared with NFHS 4, which was done between 2015 and 16, stunting and underweight fell modestly and anemia rose. School meal nutritional norms in India, the PM Portion program, legal standards require at least more than 450 kilocalories and 12 grams protein per child per day in primary and more than 700 calories and 20 grams protein in upper primary with food grain, pulse, rich, oil, gram norms. This is really, really good and it is improving the nutritional status of our children in India. Breastfeeding support programs are also available. The health system and community by 2025 USPSTF primary care counseling improves breastfeeding initiation, duration and exclusivity, and recommend a moderate benefit. Effective components include prenatal education, postnatal lactation support, and peer counselors. This breastfeeding can be promoted by peer prenatal education and postnatal lactation counseling. Many of them do not know the techniques and many of them are unaware of that, and if they are helped with that, surely this problem can be sorted out. Complementary feeding quality and home fortification, small quantity lipid-based nutrient supplements, large IPD meta-analysis done in Africa and Asian trials showed 12% relative reduction in stunting, 14% in wasting, improvements in length for age, and lower anemia risk, especially where baseline burden is high and when paired with IYCF counseling and infection control. Other study which was done is as an animal source of food, which is very, very good. The Ecuador Lone City 6 to 9 months infant given an egg daily for 6 months reported substantial linear growth gains and lower stunting prevalence versus controls. Follow-ups and pooled reviews suggest benefits where eggs are affordable and acceptable and contamination risks are managed. Other one which was done, Campbell WWZB systematic review concludes consistent improvements in dietary diversity and intake of nutrient-dense foods. Child anthropometry effects are small on an average unless transfer adequate, predictable, and paired with SBCC and health services. School feeding programs beyond short-term attendance and cognition gains, quasi-experimental work finds integrational benefits, exposure to the midday meal in childhood and linked to taller adult women and improved child height in the next generation. Recent RCTs also show learning improvements when meals are regular and nutritionally adequate. Many other studies are there strongly associated with the LMIC, household food insecurity is strongly associated with poorer child diets and the higher risk of undernutrition, and other projects like the project First 1000 Days project and strengthening school meal programs, the PM Portion which I had already deliberated on, and making transfer nutrition smart program. Various other programs are available. So this is a time where community should become aware so that the food insecurities can be well taught to the children, to the parents, to the teachers, to the community, to the stakeholders, and to the leaders, and all will work in communication and in collaboration so that children will not suffer of malnutrition. So in conclusion, pediatric nutrition lays the foundation for a healthy future. Food insecurity remains a major barrier to childhood. Through policy, education, and community support, we can work together equitable nutrition for all children. Thank you for the opportunity. God